Thank you for tuning in and watching this video. Massive thank you to Faye for helping me film this video. Faye, say hi.
Hi.
Okay. As you can see, today's post video is going to be finally about tips for being a bridesmaid. I've been meaning to do this video for such a long time, but I just haven't actually felt led to do it any other day. So today was the day, and so I'm really gonna try and get straight into it and stuff. Just before I do the tips, I just want to say I'm not like an expert when it comes to being a bridesmaid or maid of honor or anything like that. It just so happens that I've been maid of honor like 5 times, well 4 times, and then one time I was chief bridesmaid. But some people call a maid of honor chief bridesmaid. It just kind of depends on what you have going on in terms of your bridal party or the bridal party you are a part of. And being maid of honor 5 times has given me a lot of experience. I feel like I've learned on the job a lot for a lot of the brides that I served, and it was so exciting because they were my sisters getting married and my best friends getting married, and so it was an honor for me to be able to be a bridesmaid full stop, and then to actually be maid of honor was just like another whoa big thing, especially because with some of my some of the people that I was maids of honor let me speak English, maid of honor for, I didn't begin with being a maid of honor. First of all, I was just going to be bridesmaid, but as time went on, I was just doing what I would want someone to do for me, which is be there for me, and as a result I was like promoted to maid of honor. So that's God, and that's how things happen when you just kind of do your part. But anyways, that's kind of me, so that's my background slightly for you, and in terms of where I'm coming from and why I'm doing the tips today. So I've been asked by a lot of different ladies that I've known have been maid of honor or been bridesmaid, like, I need your help, and having all these questions and stuff. So I thought, okay, I'm actually going to do a post one day, and rather than write the post, even though I started it, so I'm going to be looking down at the tips that I put down and stuff. So let's get started. Right, okay, first of all I'm just going to highlight what, from my small research I've done, I've done research based on being a bridesmaid, because I wanted to understand what the role was before. In my case, I actually had said yes to my sisters and stuff way before even knowing what the role was, just because I thought I have to be it just have to be kind of thing. At first it was kind of like me thinking, ooh, I gotta get to wear a pretty dress, but yeah, I learned very quickly that it's more than just wearing a pretty dress. So yeah, for me, being a bridesmaid, maid of honor, or chief bridesmaid and maid of honor are sort of the same thing but different names. However, I've been a part of a bridal train whereby I was chief bridesmaid and there was also a maid of honor, and so I don't know, depending on how many close friends, sisters, cousins you've got, depends on kind of how you'd want to word it, or how you'd want to separate those roles. But yeah, for me, being a bridesmaid is really in the name, bridesmaid, and that's something that really stood out to me, the fact that you are a maid for the bride. And that for me, being in Christ now, is not a word that I think, what, being a maid, being a slave, being a servant. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a great honour to be able to serve somebody who you love. And so for me, I would say that, yeah, being the bridesmaid is, a great thing, because, yeah, I get to kind of help them achieve their goal. And so, yeah, when I think of a maid, I think of somebody who's serving, and not serving because they have to, but serving because they want to, and doing things to the best of their ability, and doing things out of love, and not out of just duty. So if you're a maid of honor just because you have to be, or you're bridesmaid just because you have to be by default, then I kind of apologise and hope that you ask God to give you the heart to want to serve the bride that you have, whether it be an in-law, or in love, should I say, in love, because you're not married because of law, but because of love, in love. Yeah. So how I see basically the whole bridal party and bridal train stuff is basically like an organisation or like a company. If you think about a company, you've got the CEO, which is God, because we're dealing with marriage. Then you've got in a company you'd have managers, and for me, I see the bride and groom as the managers, and I see myself as somebody who's kind of not employed by them, but I'm working for them in a sense. So what they say goes, because if you were hired for a job and they told you this is your uniform, even though you may not like your uniform, you'd pretty much wear it because you have now you know, agreed to the terms and conditions of that company. And that's how I see it in terms of like being a bridesmaid. And so that kind of leads me to kind of like tip number 1, or so to speak, which is the fact that it's not in any order, by the way, my tips, but yeah, tip number 1 is just to recognize that it's not about you. And so when it comes to like dress choices, hair choices, and all the other stuff, like, it's not actually about what you want. And what I mean by that is just that, like, when it comes to dress choices, makeup choices, and as a bridesmaid, as a maid of honor, as long as it's not indecent and immodest, that's something that person's just like, yeah, it's not about that. I think just ride with it, just wear whatever it is it is. If it's one colour, whatever it is, whatever it is that they choose. If it's a colour which you don't necessarily would like, or you wouldn't normally wear, just think about it this way. It's like a couple of hours, not a couple of hours, it's like a few hours in the day. It's not even 24 hours that you're going to be wearing this dress. So I just think, just kind of put it on, and even if it doesn't necessarily flatter you as much as you would want it to, etc, etc, just really remember that it's not your day, it's the bride and groom's day, and you've been invited in to help them achieve that day. So even though you do want to look your best and you want to look good as well for the photos and videos, just remember that regardless, when it's your day, or if it has been your day, you've had your time, and when it will be your day, you will get your chance as well. But as for this moment, it's theirs, it's the bride and groom, so regardless, just kind of wear it. So yeah, as long as it's not immodest and doesn't go against, doesn't like cause you to compromise, you know, where you are in Christ, I would say just get down. If it does compromise, then I would say speak to the bride about that, and just pray about it, and just let God get in the midst of that. Number 2, I would say, which is not really in order, sorry, but is make sure as a bridesmaid that you have spoken to the bride, and as a bride that you make it clear to your bridesmaids the expectations you have for them. As a bride, you may expect your bridesmaids, I don't know, to be free, I don't know, to come and meet with you to do the invitations, for example. But if you don't let them know from day 1, they may be thinking, oh, I'm just going to be doing things on the main day. But just let them know things you would like them to help you with, and as a bridesmaid, try and find out what that is, and find out what you can offer and bring to the table. If you're good at doing events, maybe you should be helping, I don't know, do the coordinating paperwork, I don't know. Or if you're really good at, I don't know, if you're good with music, maybe you should help them to put their music list together. If you're good at typing, maybe you should help them to type up their order of service, that kind of thing. Like, if you're not used to doing something, it may be harder for you to then learn to kind of adopt it. So as a bridesmaid, especially maid of honor, I would try and say, find out who your team are, because you are a team at the end of the day, which is my point 3. You are a team, and as a team, you should really work hand in hand and work together. Now, you may have a team where you don't necessarily get on that much, or you don't know each other. By all means, I would say try and get each other's like details, make a WhatsApp group, or I don't know, Skype each other. Try and do something, go out for dinner, for lunch, just try and meet and try and sort of like connect, because you are going to be spending a lot of time together until the wedding day, and even on the day itself, so it helps. Point number 4 is just be prepared to serve, be prepared to put yourself aside and really be there for the bride, and be there obviously for the groom in essence, but you're there for the bride first and foremost. I would say put yourself in the bride's shoes. If this was your wedding day and you were planning your wedding, how would you like the people around you to help you? Would you appreciate somebody calling you to tell you, oh my gosh, you know, that other bridesmaid, I'm not really feeling her? You wouldn't like that, because it just causes things to grow, and that's not what you are there to bring. You're not there to bring drama as a bridesmaid, but you're there to help the vision for the bride and groom come together. So just try and bear that in mind. Be as helpful as possible. Offer to help, offer to do research for vendors. Try and think, okay, like asking the bride, oh, have you got a videographer, have you got a DJ, have you got decorator? And if you know you have people in, I don't know, your contact list, or people that you already know that do these things, then by all means you can recommend. Just try and be helpful. Try and find out where are they at the moment, what is it that they need help for, especially, you know, nowadays people are working, they may not have time to be doing full-time jobs and trying to plan a wedding and this and that and serving Christ, obviously, like in ministry and stuff. So as much as you can, sort of like try and be helpful. Be wise in your speech. Point 6, please be wise in your speech. And by that I just mean, like, yeah, if you don't get along with another bridesmaid, just try keep your peace. And I'll definitely say also, which is going to lead me to point 7, which is be prayerful. Pray about everything. Pray about everything. Testimony for you from recently when I was a bridesmaid for my best friend and went to Ghana. One of the dresses for the bridesmaids didn't fit her very well, but we had prayed before we went to Ghana because we couldn't exchange it and it was just a whole palaver. So we just prayed that God would literally make that dress fit, because yeah, we just needed the dress to fit, and the dress fit perfectly on the day. But I was encouraged like to pray about the dress following one of my other sisters that got married in 2012, and her wedding dress was too short, and she actually prayed and asked God to increase the length. Now you may think, oh please, but it's like, if God can make the dead like alive, why can he not make the skirt of a dress, or the skirt of, you know, the skirt of a skirt like longer? And he did it, and she was wearing, I think, was it 4 or 5 inch heels, because she likes her heels and platforms, and her dress was like sweeping the floor. Yeah, God added length to her wedding dress, okay, because she bought a dress already. It wasn't like made to measure. She had bought a dress, but it was too short, but it was the right size. And God is amazing. And so don't limit God. Pray about everything. Pray about, even as a bride, pray about who should be in your bridal train. It's not everyone who you went to school with, or just because you've known them since this age, just because they're your cousin, doesn't mean they automatically need to be there. Doesn't mean that God sees them in the vision for your overall life moving forward. Some people you only have them in your single life. Some people you have them through your courtship, and some of them through marriage. It's not every single friend or person, unfortunately, is going to go through every single season with you, which I've learned with the brides I've been around, where they've had to depart or part ways with people in a crucial time, i.e. around their wedding. And it's just been kind of a painful time in that respect. But at the same time, I've really learned that praying about things before you even ask people to be a bridesmaid, it would be good if you just ask God, is this cool with you? Like, as well as obviously your husband to be. And stuff. But yeah, pray about everything. Pray about DJ, pray about centerpieces, pray about the venue, pray for favor. Just pray, talk to the Lord, make your request known, and just allow him to be God and let him surprise you. Prepare to plan the bridal shower for the bride as a maid of honor and as a bridesmaid. As a maid of honor, I would say you're the one who's going to be planning the whole event. If you're not used to planning events, then by all means find out from the bridesmaids, which is your team, you are all a team, who can do what, and basically delegate and make it happen. When I think about a bridal shower, some people call it a hen do and stuff, but for me, like, the first bridal shower I went to was the first one that I planned, which was for my sister. And like, I just really asked God to help me, and I prayed about it and asked God to lead me what I should do for her and catering it to her. And it was an experience. I learned a lot. I saw things where I could have improved, which I did for the next bride I happened to be like maid of honor for. But yeah, I really just learned that, like, yeah, what I'm trying to say here, Lord. Yeah, when you're planning a bridal shower, for me, what was like my main thing was that I wanted my sisters, my best friends, to know how much I as their sisters, like, value them. I mean, when I think about bridal shower, it's like the last time as a single woman you're supposed to go out with your girls, go out with the women in your life. And for me, I wouldn't want to put my sisters all tied up somewhere in some just bad place and just doing things that I just think doesn't let them see their worth in Christ. I think we have enough fiery darts thrown at us and enough in a society without basically having your sisters and the people who are like your best friends, your irons, or your cousins and stuff, not really honouring you. So I really see it as an opportunity to honour the bride, show her how much she's valued, show her all the great things about her, even remind her of the greatness within her, because she's stepping into a new chapter being a wife. And it's not everybody who, although they're very excited about being married, does not necessarily mean that they are confident in being a wife to this person, to this gentleman. Therefore, I think it's important to just like encourage them and lavish them with encouraging words, encouraging things, acts, just to show them that you are fit to be a wife, you are able, God will grace you, and just kind of remind them. So that's how I kind of see it in it. That's me. And so I see it as a time to kind of get married women there who can give sound advice, like sound advice, please, godly sound advice, to help build them up as women and help the bride to be ready to go into marriage and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, be prepared to plan the bridal shower. Point 9, I think I'm on point 9, forgive everyone. That's what I forgive everyone, because everyone under pressure responds really differently. The bride will respond differently. You might see a different side to yourself, you might see a different side to bridesmaids, mums, uncles, pastors, you name it, you don't know, seriously. And so I would just say be ready just to forgive. Don't hold offense. Like, I went through personally like a hard time with some of the brides that I was maid of honor for, and by a hard time I just mean where things were shared which really offended me, and I was a bit like, okay, cool, yeah. I just had to take my heart to God and really ask God to help me, and for me to not be bitter, because you can't be faking them photos and them videos, you need to be correct. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's a case of just ask God to help you, put it aside, and just remember it's about their union, it's about their union, it's about their union. It's about their union, and just kind of leave it like that. Please try to be at the rehearsals and fittings, whatever it is that the bride would like you to be, please try and be there, because it shows the bride your support is there. I was a bridesmaid for a short period of time for a bride in 2012, I think it was, and I said yes and agreed to be her bridesmaid, but that's in the same year I was also maid of honor twice in the same year, so I was really busy and stuff, and I had said yes without thinking and without even consulting God and thinking, am I graced for all of these, like to be bridesmaids 3 times basically. And as a result I had to end up like kind of pulling out and speaking to the bride, and we had to have a discussion because I wasn't being there for her, and as much as I love her and I wanted to be there for her, I couldn't be, and that hurt her, and then it hurt me that I hurt her. So I learned like just really and truly like try and like be there and communicate with the bride as much as possible. Don't go MIA when you're a bridesmaid. It does not help the bride who's trying to sort this, trying to sort that, and then it's like, where's that bridesmaid? I ain't heard from her in like weeks. I don't think that's very helpful. It doesn't mean call every day, but just check in. How are things going? Is there anything I can do, you know, be helpful. And yeah, and I think last point, there's loads of points I could have said, but last point for now is offer to pay for your your bridesmaid's dress. If you were a guest, you'd most likely be buying your own dress anyway, or you'd have a dress of course at home if you're like me. But more to the point, you know, if you're here to be a bridesmaid, you're here to help, and if you can help financially, excuse my phone, if you can help financially, that would be such a big help to the bride and groom. They've got so much other stuff as well. Of course, speak with the bride, and hopefully the bride is realistic. It's like if your bride is asking you to spend like £300 on a dress, that's obviously like, excuse me, even like, I don't know, 150, 200 may be a lot as well and stuff. So let the bride know your budget, like I'm willing to spend this much. I've got the privilege of actually working with a bride at the moment who I'm styling her and her bridesmaids, and it was great to be able to know like, okay, what's their budget, and from their budget that's what I'm working with and stuff, rather than me saying this is the dress, you all have to pay this much. It's a case of what do you have and I'll style it around that. So yeah, it's helpful in terms of knowing what the budget is and stuff. But yeah, I'm looking at my phone to see if there's any more like, you know, tips and all that. No, I think that's all of my tips for now anyway. If you've got questions or anything else, you can comment below and let me know.